In this video, I make a quick and dirty table out of 2x4s and wood scraps I had in the shop for the MPCNC machine. So I made a quick visit to my local box store and picked up some cheap fir 2x4s for less than $4 a board. Back in the shop, I cut them down to size. I cut each leg 35 inches and made the dimensions of the table 26 by 26 square. Next I used my speed square to square everything up, and then I used some clamps to get it ready for screws. I just used basic butt joints with 2 screws per each side for the tabletop. It's nothing fancy, but it does the trick. Next, I started to screw on each leg using 3 screws per leg. Quick tip, when putting legs on a table, use a clamp to hold the legs together while you screw. It makes the job so much easier. Once those were all set, it was time to see how much weight it could hold. Boom, 160 pounds of grade A beef. Next was to make the bottom part of the table. For that, I made the exact square as the top part, so the casters would have a solid place to screw into. It would also give me a shelf to put tools on to weigh the table down so it's more stable. After that, I took a scrap piece of MDF, ripped it to width on my table saw, and then cross-cut it with my circular saw, making it slightly smaller than the dimension of the tabletop. So the reason why I cut it to this size is that this piece of MDF will be sacrificial and can easily be changed to a new piece when needed. I then grabbed the machine just so I could see how it would sit on top of the table. Next, we measured both sides nice and even. I then ripped 2 narrow strips of MDF. These strips will be permanent and what the machine will be mounted to. I did a quick measurement of the strips on the tabletop and cut them on my miter saw to size. After screwing the strips in, I just did a double check of the sizing of all the pieces by running my fingers along the board, ever so slowly. After the strips were screwed in, I used a few screws to hold down the sacrificial board to the tabletop. I then took the CNC machine and laid it on top of the table, finding just the right spot for it to be screwed down to. Next I took a marker and marked the spots where I needed to drill. I then drilled pilot holes for all the screws. I made sure the holes still lined up with the machine and started screwing. After using a screwdriver for the first 2 screws, my arm started to burn and I said screw this and I used my drill to finish the job. Don't judge me. And remember, when it comes to editing, always have good continuity. Now it was time to make the bottom shelf. I took a quick measurement and grabbed an old piece of OSB I had. Just remember the anagram of OSB is SOB, which you'll be yelling if you don't wear gloves handling this type of wood. So I grabbed my circular saw and cut the piece to size. In this shot you'll see another piece of wood in the middle for support. I forgot to film that part. So then I grabbed some screws and got to work. Now it was time to put on the casters. Each of these casters used 4 screws to attach to the bottom of the table, which made them very sturdy and able to support quite a bit of weight. Next, I did a quick test to see how it rolled. So here it is, the table for the MPCNC machine. It is nothing fancy, just a shelf on the bottom, replaceable MDF on top, and I threw some casters on it to wheel around in the shop. The one thing I didn't show is I made a shelf out of an extra piece of plywood I had laying around in the shop. Right now it's holding the power supply and the Arduino. Once I finalize the cabling, I'm going to close it off to the elements so no sawdust or anything gets in there and potentially could kill the computer. There you have it. I hope you dug the build, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Also, don't forget to hit the little bell icon next to my subscriber count to get notified every time I release a new video. Thanks for watching.